Hey, welcome to the Believing Wives YouTube channel. I'm Deborah Cheek, founder of Believing Wives, and I'm so glad that you're here. We're in a series called Unconventional Marriage Advice, and today I'm sharing the last bit of advice for this series. That advice is this: learn how to handle conflict. In a previous video, I compared marriage to merging two kingdoms. We talked about how merging those two kingdoms can bring a lot of change to your life. Sometimes those changes produce conflict. We may have very different views on how to handle some of the most common issues in marriage: finances, sex, and how to share the responsibilities. Remember, marriage isn't about sameness. It's about oneness. Often conflict is how we get to that oneness. Conflict in and of itself isn't bad. I know we sometimes have a negative response to conflict, or we think that it means that something terrible is happening, but it simply means that we have a difference of opinion, a different perspective, or just aren't in agreement about something or how something should be done. The issues arise when we don't handle those differences well. So I want to share some pointers around how to handle conflict in marriage so that you can move forward successfully. So here we go. Number one, remember that you love this person. I know that doesn't really sound like advice for conflict resolution, but trust me, it is. There can be a temptation when we face conflict to attack the person, hit below the belt by calling names, be disrespectful, or speak in terms of absolutes like you never do this and you always do that. But keep in mind that this is a person that you love, and that while you disagree on an issue, you typically agree on more things than you disagree on. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Deal with the problem, but leave the personal attacks out of it. You love this person, and you want to be able to come back from this argument without having done damage to your foundation. Number two, deal with the current issue. That's right. If the conflict is about cleaning the kitchen, this isn't the time to bring up all the stuff that happened 5 years ago about how he forgot to pick something up for you or something like that. Often we allow things to build up. So when we engage in conflict, we want to throw in everything that has offended us rather than just dealing with what's happening now. It can be difficult to resolve several issues at once. So we've got to deal with the current issue and just establish a time to deal with the others. As a matter of fact, try not to allow issues to build up over time so this won't be a problem for you, so that it won't be something that you have to face and come back to over and over again. Number three, look for a resolution. There's no point in arguing just to argue. If you're engaging in conflict, do it from the perspective of finding a resolution. There is space for venting. There's space for proving your point or explaining your point if that's what you feel like you need to do. But the ultimate goal is for both parties to be able to move forward from the conflict, not stew in it. Look for a resolution. Enter the conflict with an end goal in mind, that we're going to be on the same page about something. Number four, don't sweat the small stuff. There are some things that just aren't worth the energy. I've heard someone use the 5-5-5 rule before, where they ask, will it matter in 5 minutes, 5 months, or 5 years? We have to respond accordingly. If it won't matter in 5 minutes, let it go. If it's going to matter in 5 months or 5 years, then find a way to address it. If it's not going to create a crack in your marital foundation, it's not worth the conflict. We've got to choose wisely. If there is nothing to be won, we don't engage in battle. Number five, don't throw around the D word. Divorce is a big deal. It's something that people should not consider unless it's absolutely necessary. Throwing the word divorce around in an argument is dangerous, and it makes it seem like covenant is not valued. Don't minimize what God has brought together by treating it carelessly. Don't threaten divorce unless it's something you've thoughtfully, prayerfully considered with wise counsel, and you know this is how God wants you to move forward. One final piece of advice around conflict. Let's not throw tantrums. Let's handle conflict like adults. Throwing a tantrum, yelling, cussing, or physically throwing things is unsafe behavior. We can't use our bad attitudes or throwing a tantrum and pouting as manipulation to get our way. And we cannot punish people with our bad behavior. This type of behavior damages our relationship more than we know. It makes somebody feel manipulated. It makes your partner feel manipulated, or it can create a lack of trust. If you're experiencing this type of behavior or displaying it, I encourage you to seek the help of a trusted professional. Let's engage in conflict like adults with an end goal or resolution of moving forward in peace at the heart of it. So that wraps up our series on unconventional marriage advice. I hope that some of these tips have been helpful. I want you to keep doing the work to learn and grow. And remember, changed wives change lives.